It is 4 a.m. right now. Just dropped off the rental car, about to head to the airport, and I got a feeling that today's training session is probably gonna hurt. Because over the last 3 days of travel, saying that I've had 10 hours total of sleep would be a generous estimation. And to make today's session work, I'd have to go straight from the Calgary airport into the realm to squat. And it ain't the first time I've trained under this kind of circumstance, but every time I do it, I can't help but wonder, why the hell am I even bothering? Made it back to Calgary, and I think the answer to that question is, even if I didn't want to train, I needed to train. Not just for the sake of my own goals, but if my big goal is to make powerlifting better, I need to set the example that it doesn't matter how you feel going into a session, you can still enjoy that session and you can still make that session really productive, which was so important today. Because on the plane, had a brief moment of, I've had 2 hours of sleep, I don't feel very good. I don't know if I actually want to squat on squat day. I'm just going to do a bunch of machine bullshit. But that was quickly interrupted by a whole string of fuck that. It's squat day. We're going to warm up. We're going to see what we can do. And even if it isn't going to be good, which I'm not expecting it to be good with how terrible things have been on the diet, we're going to do our best with it. So let's get to squatting. Warming up some, I actually feel a lot better than I was expecting, which is probably a lot to do with the fact that today is the high day on Justin's carb cycling plan, which means I actually have calories. So I think we're going to try to ride that out, but I don't feel good enough to squat 5 plates as a first warm-up. Zeb's just finished his top set. I'm going to get in there on the buffalo bar. Sides, are you good? Yeah, just for... Yep, settle. Good. Oh. Is that chatter normal? Is that yeah?
I have got it bad today.
Yeah. So probably just travel. You think?
I get it sporadically. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm just tight.
Yeah.
It's not real bad today. Some days it's
Hip flexor shit. This bar on rollers is very frightening. I'm an idiot, but not that much of an idiot. I wrote down what I need to remember from last session in my little notebook so I can remember it today for these squats. And the cue that I wrote down is be the accordion, which basically means that gotta be a little bit narrower than I want to, carry a little bit more hinge than I typically want to, just so that in the bottom end, when I'm 230 pounds instead of 320, I don't feel like quite as open and exposed. Feels like I want it to feel. Be pretty optimistic at this point in the session. And it's like I actually kind of like training when I do feel like absolute dog shit, because if I feel like absolute dog shit, I need to focus from the beginning, and if I'm more focused and in it from the beginning, things tend to do a little bit better. Good enough that we're going straight to 3. Started laughing when I was thinking about what I was going to say to you guys, because like the point I wanted to make was that last week I was unwilling to go straight to 3 plates because squats have been feeling so rough, and I was just like thinking like, how freaking pathetic is it the guy that squats 925 doesn't want to go straight to 3 plates? So it's both funny and also relieving that it feels good enough today that I'm actually not going 275 instead of 3 plates. So yeah, we'll get the set done now. And apparently the old Steiner's coming out harder with the sleep deprivation. Like, other than having to like slide my hands in because I'm too wide gripping in the power rack, it like feels so much better in the last couple weeks, so am very, very, very okay with this. So I figure we'll go 3.5, which is another jump that I'm a little bit embarrassed to be taken, but you know, smart choices. Because it's like normally peaking for a powerlifting meet, like when I'm strong at the end of prep, like my first warm up on a squat day is usually 3 reds and a collar on a squat bar. So yeah, I'm a little bit ashamed of taking this jump, but you know what? It is what is necessary right now for the feels. But holy freaking shit, it is hard to get words out of my mouth today, so I apologize, guys. But I mean, we can always make up for it by not squatting like a total loser today. Should put collars on because I can feel the plates sliding. Hopefully it's not too bad. And I mean, like, definitely not good, but groove kind of feels pretty okay. Also, definitely feeling the teeter-totter on this platform right now, which I don't love, but I mean, we're dealing with it. First rep there, I definitely felt a little bit of that weird brace chatter going on, but rep 2 onwards, I just try to focus on pulling rib cage down harder, carrying chest a little bit lower, finding that better hinge. And I mean, yeah, like I was saying, they felt pretty freaking normal, so I'm okay with this. And forgot to film loading plates, but we got 4 on, so figure we might as well give it a whirl. What I'm telling myself is no matter how good this feels, and I know it's going to feel good because I'm going to remember to crank ribs down harder from the get-go, is this is going to be top set of the day because with how squats have been trending, I'm just going to be happy with this and stoked to move on. Remember when this was the first warm-up, last meet prep? God, I missed that. Yeah, we're back.
Watch your hand. You're good. You're good. Let go.
I hate how happy I am with that. So pathetic. But it doesn't matter what I've squatted. It matters what I'm capable of squatting on this day. And my whole goal with everything I'm doing is to teach you guys that if you do the right work for long enough, that is how real progress is made. And when you start to see that progress coming from the work you're doing, that's when you start to really enjoy doing the work. And if you don't know what you should be doing, hit link below, join the team, because I am trying to revolutionize how powerlifting coaching is done, and I want to help you.
You're a light boy now.
Yeah.
You're the lightest boy in the gym.
But it's like that's the closest Brace has been to feeling normal. Yeah. I mean, you're leaner than I am. Definitely. Definitely. Look at those veins. Like I was saying, the good news here is that definitely am figuring out the skinny guy groove a little bit better, but the bad news is that I'm still 100% feeling like the erectors need more bringing up to get that skinny guy groove to work better. So reluctantly, I'm moving on to some roundy boy good mornings, which I'm going to run on the camber, which probably isn't the best bar for erector intent, but Darrell had the camber bar out for his good morning, so I'm just going to tag in rather than unloading and swapping for the SSB. And as long as I'm like really trying to rib down ab, get that round, it's going to be good enough to do the job. But you can tell by me taking 2 places the first warm-up, it is much easier on me leverage-wise. So I don't know, do a couple more to decide if we're going up or not. Yeah, we'll go up. And what I'm thinking right now is, unless this feels insanely good, probably just 1 top set here for today. Got to remember to not make the stance so wide if I want carryover back to my conventional deadlift. Other than this bar being a freaking death trap, re-rocking it, pretty okay with that set, but I still think we're all gonna call it there because the falling asleeps are kind of hitting me pretty hard right now. The hard stuff's done. Time to move on to the fun stuff. And by fun stuff, I mean the stuff where it doesn't feel like I'm gonna be at immediate risk of dying. Because like squats and mornings were fun, don't get me wrong, but am excited to jam out on some pumpy bullshit. And for that, I'm thinking we're gonna jam out on this stack loaded leg press, which has no business feeling as good as it does for being stack loaded, not plate loaded, and like feeling good, not having to load plates, really fits the current MO. And gonna try to scoot down a little, lower some ass actually on the pad, but big goal here is to just go narrow stance, make it feel like my leg drive at the bottom of a conventional deadlift, and this is going to make sure that when I do need the leg drive at the bottom of conventional deadlift with all the rack pulls I've been doing, we still got the leg press part of the deadlift, I guess. It's like something I'll often talk about in the team is like the bottom of conventional deadlift. Like we really just want it to be pushing off, extending hips, pushing off, extending hips. And if we can groove that in, get that feeling leg press, really get good at driving off quads, it is one of the better ways to get that off the floor assertiveness going. And I feel like I just sound stupid, so I'm going to add a little bit of weight and let the set be done if I can get out of the machine. And I guess the proper order of operations is let the set be done, then add weight, because it'd be very hard to put more weight on while the machine is still like off the bottom, you know? I think for actual work set, we're gonna get the feet a little bit lower on the platform so you can get a little bit more knee bendy bend. Let the heels come up just a touch, and that feels pretty freaking good. So, am stoked. We'll go up again. Nudge the seat backwards a little bit for the last set, which is probably a little bit too far backwards considering how the bottom end felt. So brought her one hole forwards, and hopefully that is a happy middle ground. I still can't get over how hard this thing is for being stack loaded. And you know what? That might be a little bit too hard on the RP scale for kind of the big theme where I'm going right now. But I mean, this thing feels good, so I'm okay with digging in on this one. And now the worst part about training that realm is that I've got this whole sea of equipment to pick from, which sounds like a good thing, but when I don't really have a plan for the session, because I don't really want to have a plan for this session, knowing how I felt, gotta figure out what we're doing next. And I was thinking leg curl, but currently occupied, so until it is unoccupied, we're gonna jam out on some medium to high rep leg extensions, mostly because of how I feel I'm too lazy to adjust what is on the plate stack. So I am just gonna do this until it gets hard enough, and if I do that, it's gonna be fun. So that's the biggest reason. Nothing scientific, nothing fancy, just trying to feel good, enjoy my time here, you know? This leg extension is so freaking good, though. I talk about this every time I use it, but the biggest reason I like this one is that it's actually heavy in the bottom, so you're getting some tension in that lengthened position, which pump caught up very fast. I'm not worried about that for the sake of, stretch medial hypertrophy. I'm worried about it because if I'm trying to get something to carry over to squats, like having tension where I have knee bend is going to help me where my legs need to be very strong to push out from the bottom of a squat, Go ahead. Do your thing. This thing is gnarly. It's so good.
It's good?
Yeah.
I never tried this one. I'm trying to figure out which one is good.
It's all good.
Yeah,
that's the shitty part. It's like no bad options. So you just.
You know what? Though, what's great is actually when it's really busy here, we have
Exactly. Yeah. And only real rest time was resetting the camera, so probably gonna burn out quick on this one, but I don't know, makes it more fun. And again, I know like the trend right now is to go more towards the mechanical tension aspect of hypertrophy. Still can't talk, but I really do agree with that for like the most part. But I think that there is a time and place for, oh, you're totally fine, don't worry about it. There is a time and place for, the higher rep squeezy stuff here and there, as long as we understand that the higher rep squeezy stuff is going to be a little bit less productive than pure strength hypertrophy. Like we're not just depending on it. It still can fit in just for the sake of, number one, enjoying it. And number two, just trying to build that engine so that you can crank in harder on the heavy stuff. And I think like after how I felt in the bigger movements today, it probably ain't going to be the most productive to go super heavy. So again, like I'm okay digging into the pump for now. And my plan to do the leg curl next was foiled because the guys that were on it, now done, but there was another group of like 5 people sharing it. So we're just gonna run easy mode Nordics, and with how I did push these two all the way down on my other day, we're just gonna keep it pretty high and just try to not do terrible. And after that first rep, realizing not doing terrible might be a bit of a daunting task, but we'll dig in. Like they're still sore from Wednesday going all the way down, so we'll take her easy. Just dying right now because it's like no matter what, you're gonna have sessions that don't go as well as you want them to or you think they should. But who gives a shit how you think the session should go, because you are where you are and there's not much you can do about that. And the sooner you can realize that, the sooner you can realize that it's not the end of the world to have these kind of days because you are fatigued. And with that realization, you can start to dig into feeling shitty and then just try to do the best that you can while feeling shitty and be the most productive possible despite how you feel. And when you make that the goal, it starts to be pretty fun to train in this kind of state. And the more fun you can have in this kind of training state, the better you're able to do long term, the more productive you're able to make training. And newer lifters, they're so hyper fixated on single session performance and they're worried about one day in their whole training career. But the thing is when you look at your whole career, that one day does not matter. And I used to think that when I had a bad day, getting angry about it showed that I cared about powerlifting, showed that I gave a shit. But the reality is that if I were to get pissed off in this session, all that's telling the world is that I'm too immature to care about the big picture, and I don't deserve the big picture. What really caring about powerlifting training is caring enough that you don't let the bad days get in the way of productivity, because productivity over a meet prep, productivity over a career is what gets the really freaking big totals. And on that note, I've touched everything that I needed to touch over here, so the most productive thing I can do at this point of the session with how I feel is walk half a mile to the other side of the gym so I can crank on the twist machine. And like, still undecided if cranking on the more bendy rotational work is doing good things for my brace. And it's like, my brace definitely is feeling better since I've started bringing this in, but my brace as a skinny guy has also gotten a lot technically better since bringing this in. So the fact that it's getting better, I think, is enough to stick with it. So we're going to stick with it until there's reason to pivot away from it. And the reason I'm always so excited to get on this machine on Saturdays lately is the fact that for being a rotation machine, it's not like the normal ones where you're pushing off the lateral hip. You're pulling yourself across with that adductor, and it just gives like such a unique feel through both the adductors and obliques that just the feel alone is like making it worth digging into for me because, again, fun. Oh. And once again, gonna do another set, but not gonna film it because I'm running out of shit to talk about with how tired I am. So I will see you in the conclusion. And for that conclusion, I am freaking stoked with the day, which kind of sounds funny coming from a guy that squatted 925, being excited about 425 on the squat bar, but I freaking feel like balls. And every part of me, like, didn't want to train, let alone film training and talk to a camera through the whole session because, like, if I were to just roll in here, go through it, go through the motions, get stuff done, it would have been so much easier to do that and not communicate my thoughts as I was going through. But the thing is that filming this was really important to me for a couple of reasons. The first being that my whole job right now is to show lifters what they do and do not need to be worried about. And what they don't need to be worried about is single session performance, because your performance is going to fluctuate with how you feel, with your state of fatigue, with what's going on in your life. And if you expect that every day is going to be spectacular, you're not going to have a good time. And what you do need to worry about instead of that is how productive you're able to make every single session, regardless of how you feel. And some days, that's going to mean that you are going to be taking weight off the bar. You are going to be going a little slower. You are going to skip that extra jump for the sake of productivity. Other days, that means when you're feeling good, you're going to lock in and smash things without smashing yourself. Because again, if you're smashing yourself, you are not going to be able to build momentum in that long term and stack sessions back to back that is going to be necessary to make big picture progress. And the other reason filming this was so important to me today is I got to practice what I preach. Like, if I'm talking about doing the best I can no matter what, I got to do the best I can. And today that meant trying to put together the best vlog that I could, regardless of how brain dead I feel. And like, even talking to this conclusion, I'm like halfway through going, I don't fucking remember what I said at the beginning. So I'm going to try to string this together. But I'm just stoked because regardless of how rough I felt going in, like, I can't be anything but happy with those squats. Those squats have been trending because it's like moving away from singles. I've finally had enough rep opportunity to relearn the groove. And it's like right now, I want to do singles. I like doing singles. I like putting heavy weights on the barbell. But working up to a single, like when I'm so limited in strength, like I'm just not getting enough reps to relearn what my positioning should feel like at this body weight. And I think like lightening her up a little bit, not pushing quite as heavy, getting more reps in, just doing that last week, like the difference that today felt was freaking insane. It like, it's catching it. I'm figuring out how to hold that ribcage lower. I'm figuring out how to rely on my erectors more. And based on the good mornings, like the erector strength is coming along. So I think that I'm in a really good spot to keep on trucking. And with that, I'm not expecting that next week is going to feel amazing. I'm not expecting that next week I'm going to be able to put on another 50 pounds and feel phenomenal. I'm just expecting that my execution is going to get a little bit cleaner, my groove's going to get a little bit better, and that's all I need to do right now is just focus on execution, focus on groove on the main lifts, and as long as the accessories are cranked, what I need to happen is going to happen. And that's like the biggest thing that I'm trying to do on the team right now is just show guys that no matter how the main work feels, like if you're doing your accessories appropriately, the main work's going to go in the direction that we need it to go because the accessories are what are building your mains. So on that note, if you need anything, if I can't talk. If you need help with anything related to powerlifting, hit the link below, join the team because I want to help you be a better lifter. Peace out. Have a good night.